The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Hey, welcome everyone to this week's version of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel, and each week we bring you comments and commentary from the mayors and supervisors all around our coverage area. This week, we're going to be starting off with Eileen Hansen, the mayor of Scottsville. Eileen, how are we doing in Scottsville?
We're doing well. Good afternoon, everyone. Our regular board meeting will be held this week on Tuesday, June 8th at 6:30 p.m. It will be an in-person meeting again, finally. We just ask that for the time being, people wear masks and observe social distancing guidelines. There will be a public hearing at the meeting to consider a local law 4-2021 to amend section 162-13B1, Article 3, stopping, standing, and parking, Chapter 62, prohibiting stopping, standing, and parking on Beckwith Avenue. All interested persons will be given an opportunity to speak for or against the above proposed legislation at that time and location. Comments also may be sent in via email to villageclerk@scottsvilleny.org. Now, a copy of this proposed law is also available at the village offices in the Wheatland Municipal Building at 22 Main Street, Scottsville, during normal business hours. And this legislation is to address an obstructed view when exiting the loop of the T.J. Connor Elementary School. So, tax bills have been sent out and should have been received this past week. If you haven't, give us a call. We'll send you one. And taxes can be paid in person at the village office or by mail at 22 Main Street, Suite 3, Scottsville, New York, 14546. Just a reminder that the drop box in front of the building is for town business only. As stated last week, we have 2 new hires at the DPW and finally have a full crew again. And they're getting busy on the list of summer projects. In addition to their regular garbage and recycling pickup, summer mowing and string trimming on all public properties and the maintenance of those properties. They've also, in the recent weeks, have power washed the flower boxes on Main Street and planted flowers. Banners and flags are up on Main Street. They've installed bird fencing at the outdoor pavilion at Johnson Park to prevent birds from nesting in the rafters. I guess it was causing a little problem. They've been doing a cleanup of the parks. On Arbor Day, they planted 2 trees with the forestry board and recycled 5,100 pounds of electronic equipment. Their summer projects include drainage issues on Maple Street. And in cooperation with the Caledonia DPW, they're borrowing their street sweeper to clean the roads in the village. And this will be done the week of June 14th. So when you see that truck going through, you know what they're doing. They will also be repairing shoulders and other road work and general flushing of the village sanitary sewers, and cleaning and repairing catch basins. Our new dump truck is set to arrive at the beginning of July. At that time, a DPW truck will be retired and sold at auction. We've been doing that with an online firm the past time and have gotten great results. And the proceeds from all those sales go into our general equipment reserve. And I have just one question maybe for the other mayors and supervisors having to do with garbage pickup. We have found this week that when we went to our transfer station, they're talking about how they may have to close because don't have enough drivers to take the garbage then to the landfills. And that would, that is could be a very big problem for any municipality. So right now we're okay, but I just want to give everybody a heads up. A, if you need a job, they're looking for truck drivers. And B, it's going to impact all of us if we can't unload the garbage. So I don't know if anybody else is having that same issue, but if you are, any help would be appreciated, any ideas. So anyway, that's it for Scottsville this week.
Thanks, Eileen. I don't know about you other guys, but I have heard from a lot of people about it's really hard to hire right now. And I thought I heard that they were short even on school bus drivers. I'm not quite sure on that, but I didn't know if you guys had anything that you want to add to that before we continue going around.
Yeah, Chris, I will say that from to tag onto Eileen's point, and talking about drivers, that is a nationwide issue. Any industry, anybody who's in industry or has goods that are being transported will tell you the cost of the shipping has gone up dramatically, like everything else right now. But I believe the last number I heard that there was a shortage of some 50 to 70,000 drivers that are needed nationwide just for general merchandise. It's really, really bad. And it's an issue every place. So to Eileen's part, I know in Honeoye Falls, and I think, with Mendon as well, we don't have our own garbage service. That's open to all the services that come into our communities. But I have not personally heard of any of the refuge collectors not being able to pick up and transport, but I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen soon. But to your point, Chris, hiring people has been extremely difficult, not just in our own communities, but throughout. And again, that's a point of discussion that we can all get into as far as the, not only the minimum wage increase and impacts that has had, some positive and some negative as far as other prices going up. But then also, quite honestly, for many areas, we've heard of the concern of people being on unemployment, and are they doing better on unemployment than they are to go out and get a job? And I know that's hopefully few and far between, but I do know from an industrial standpoint, I have a lot of customers that I deal with that are really struggling with hiring people and getting people. They'll hire someone and then they just don't show up at the end of the week and they just don't come back. I have one customer that set up interviews for 15 people and 3 people showed up for the interviews. So it is a real struggle. There are jobs out there and sometimes, yes, you have to be able to get to them, but there are jobs out there if people want them.
Yeah, and I'll confirm. I talked to a lot of local businesses and businesses throughout the greater Western New York region, and this is a growing concern. It's starting to pass some of the traditional concerns of taxes and regulations as the biggest impediment to doing business. And I know it is a nationwide trend, but in particular in New York, we have some issues here, but whatever, that's the topic for our Thursday show, not our Sunday show. So Rick, since you're up to bat, why don't you tell us a little bit about Honeoye Falls, what's going on there?
Sure, thanks, Chris. And again, it is great to see everyone as always. We had some tough weather a little bit earlier in the week, but the end of the week was certainly looking good. And on Saturday, we had our first Good Vibes Flowing concert. We started out with the HFL Jazz Ensemble. Then this coming Tuesday, we start out with our regular Tuesday night series. So we're getting a lot of interest in that. People are looking forward to getting back to Harry Allen Park and hearing some great music. Unfortunately, we're a little bit behind with the advertising, but we'll be sending the Sentinel a whole lineup and an ad very quickly, and then getting some other ads out there. But we are on every Tuesday night, moving through August. So we're excited about that. Our June Village Board meeting, June 21st, will be at the Mendon Community Center again. And again, once again, my thanks to Supervisor Moffett and the town of Mendon for letting us use that. It always works out great for us. We have a presentation from a couple of professors working with RIT to come in and do a presentation on the use of hydrogen and some things they think our community could really be a showcase for hydrogen use when you look at the old GM facility and now Hyzon coming in, et cetera. So there'll be a presentation at the June 21st meeting. So we've opted to use the community center in case people want to be there to hear the presentation. This past week, we've had quite a few phone calls to the village office. Quite honestly, Supervisor Moffett may be hearing some of these calls as well, with a huge influx and increase in the large trucks, the dump trucks coming through the community at all hours, multiple trucks, truck after truck after truck. It's a very delicate situation or topic, I think. We have to understand that the village of Honeoye Falls is intersected by both state and county roads. We, the village and the town, do not have real jurisdiction over the use of those roads, even though they're in our communities. And again, they're county and state roads. So these dump trucks are bringing stuff, bringing materials from Hanson Aggregates or other sites, and they are traveling, from point A to point B, right? They're traveling east and west and north and south, coming through the community, going to job sites. And we all know that construction is really taking off right now. Not only is it the time of year for road construction projects, but now with the pandemic loosening up and developers and contractors really getting back into their projects, we are starting to see a lot of projects that are going either 24 hours or that are working through the evening and nighttime hours to keep the roads open for the heavy traffic during the days. So we've seen over the last couple of days, dump trucks coming through the village, at midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. The reports are that they're coming through much too fast. We do know that the big trucks, they're heavy, they're large, and they're loud. So they seem to be going faster than quite often they are. But we want to certainly do what we can for our business members and our community residents. I am contacting, or have contacted, I should say, the New York State Police as well as the Monroe County Sheriffs to try to put some special units on during the late night and evening hours, just to show a presence to try to slow these trucks down. We will do what we can. We always reach out to the local suppliers, Hanson, et cetera, and to the our other surrounding local communities, just saying, hey, if your trucks are coming through our village, please tell them to try to slow down, tell them to stay off the Jake brakes, and also be cognizant that we have kids getting out of school now. Our young drivers are out later in the evening than they normally are. People are out on the streets at different hours. So we just need to be cognizant of that, and we will do whatever we can to help that situation. So please be aware, we're aware of it, and we're trying to work on that. We did receive our formal notification. We'll send this to the Sentinel as well, from the National Arbor Day Foundation, that the Village of Honeoye Falls was named a 2020 Tree City USA. We did receive that designation, and we'll be forwarding that to the Sentinel and putting it on our media pages. We're very proud of that. And part of that is the village's program to continually replant trees. Certainly people will see over the last couple of weeks that we've taken a lot of trees down. And that is because of some of the damage that these trees were doing to the sidewalks, the sidewalk heavals, if you will, heaves where the sidewalk is being deteriorated by the root systems. We are taking those trees out. We will and have planted new trees that we hope will, be put in the ground better and deeper, if you will, but at the same time, some differing trees that are supposed to have a better root system and not hinder both the sidewalks and the wires above them. So that's something we're working on. As Eileen said, the Village of Honeoye Falls has done the same thing. Our flowers are up overall. Again, because of some of the new trees and the sidewalk work we're doing, we've had to pull a few of those out because the hangers had to be taken out. But the flowers are up, the flags are up. We had a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day holiday this past weekend. It was great to see the people come out for the Memorial Day parades, and it was great walking with Supervisor Moffitt and the other elected officials and our veterans in these parades. It was just great to get back to that again. So we really appreciate people coming out. Yeah, we're back open. We're back open for business, and we're telling people that, like every place else, if you've got your vaccinations, you don't have to wear your masks, but it's still just a good practice to keep your mask on if you're coming into our meetings until you sit down. And even when you come to Harry Allen Park for the music concerts, wear a mask coming in just to be safe, just to be sure, and take them off when you sit down. So thanks, Chris, for the opportunity. It's always great to see everyone, and we hope everyone has a great week coming up.
All right. Thanks, Rick. John, how are we doing in Mendon?
Good, Chris. I'll echo some of Mayor Milne's points. First of all, with the openings with drivers, as most residents know, all of our garbage refuse is handled privately, and I have not heard of anything as far as them being able to participate in a transfer station. However, I do know that drivers, CDL drivers, that is those jobs are a lot of open jobs. When we were on shift work because of COVID this winter, because I have a CDL, I was out plowing roads as well with our guys, so that we didn't mix the two groups of guys that we have work on the highway department, so they didn't get mixed. And that way, if someone did get sick, it didn't wipe out the whole department. And luckily, we had no problems like that this winter. So I was more than happy to help out on that end of it. Summer recreation, going to a different season. Summer recreation, they have over 100 participants, and up and running. It's I think been a successful program over the years. We revamped it a few years ago with our neighbors. It's always been a Honeoye Falls Mendon recreation department, but we've now brought in the village and town of Lima, West Bloomfield, and I think it's been a very good program. So we're looking forward to that getting going. And as both mayors mentioned, getting back to normal, so to speak. We have our recycling event coming up on June 12th at our highway department on Semmel Road. That is for electronics, shredding, and thank you to the Monroe County Sheriff's Department for being there. They will be accepting prescription drugs that are not needed or outdated. The Mendon Public Library, the librarian is retiring. So the Library Board of Trustees is a board that the Mendon Town Board appoints, and they will be hiring a new librarian. It is a civil service position, so they will be hiring off a civil service list, and they'll be contacting potential individuals who have taken the civil service test in the past and are qualified for that position. So we'll see some changes there. We certainly wish the former librarian the best in her retirement. Let's see. Also, the Mendon Highway Department does a shutdown week on July 5th through the 9th. The reason they do that shutdown week is they work many of the holidays throughout the winter months. And then during that week, they have a shutdown week. So that will be coming up next month. Also wanted to mention, as both mayors mentioned, the issue with speed and traffic. We do have our own speed control device, or I shouldn't say control, monitoring device that we do put out. We just recently had some complaints in Mendon-Shire about some speeding, so we did have it out there. Certainly, as residents see issues, please let us know. We are not able to put that out on state roads. However, the Monroe County Sheriff's Department can do that. They have their own speed machine, but they don't have very many, and it's a pretty big county, and it's a problem that, quite frankly, is in every village and town in Monroe County. So we do have that, and we certainly will contact the Sheriff's Department for increased visibility from them as well in areas where we have complaints about speeding. As I mentioned previously, we do have our flags and flowers up in the hamlet. Obviously, I've been through the village of Honeoye Falls many times. That looks beautiful as well. And I think people are just happy to get out and do things. And Memorial Day was fantastic. We had great turnout both in the hamlet and in the village for those ceremonies and the parades. And I think most people, including me, were just happy to get out and see people and in some type of normalcy going forward. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, John. Anybody else have any other things to add?
Nope.
Seeing none, thank you all for participating, and thank you all for watching this week's version of the Mayor's Supervisors Report. Remember, we'll be here every week, Sunday at 1 o'clock on your favorite YouTube and Facebook channels, which happen to be our Facebook and YouTube channels, just in case you're wondering. All right, thanks. Bye-bye for now, everybody.
I know.
Bye now.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.